In a few moments, you will have an experience which will seem completely real. It will be the result of your subconscious fears transformed to your conscious awareness. You have 5 seconds to terminate this tape. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey, what is up, everybody? How is it going? Thanks again for joining me for another BG-Cast Wednesday live podcast. We are so back Wednesday. Man, I got to tell you, it's been it's been such an interesting week. It's actually been an interesting year, but it's been an interesting week. I'm not going to dive too much into it right now, but I've had my reality shattered in the best way possible. Yes, I know when you're, when you hear that, oh, my reality's been shattered. Oh no, it's usually sometimes it's seen as a negative thing, but it is actually the most amazing thing ever. Just want to give a shout out, Selena, Don, Lee, Dyanna, and everybody else who's coming on in. Thank you guys so much for being here. But yeah, it's been it was shattering. It was life shattering, but in the best possible way. And all I can say is right now I am the happiest I've ever been in my whole life. So, but nonetheless, guys, it's a solo show tonight, so it's just going to be us. And I miss it, I have teaching is what started BG-Cast, and it was where I got my footing in with podcast. And I mean, the guest, Phil, what's up, man? Nice to see you. I'm glad you caught my Facebook comment. But no, the guest came later on, and but BG-Cast was originally about solo shows. It's about teaching the esoteric and spiritual material. So that's what we're going to get back to tonight. But first, we have sponsors, and I have somebody new I'm going to be advertising tonight. You guys know her. She's been on the show here quite a few times. Miss Dyanna, Transcending Ascension, the spirit mom. But the one thing I want to tell you guys about Miss Dyanna is, did you know that she's contributing to New Earth Entertainment? That's absolutely right. Not only is she doing music right now, which I highly suggest you go and check out. The songs are awesome. But for all of you spiritual parents out there who want to give your kids some of the most spiritually enriched reading material that you can find, that's going to help them in their lives, that's going to give them kind of a foundation for the spiritual nature of this reality as they grow, I want to show you Dyanna's books. So I'm going to bring up her website here. So let's get it up here. So we have transcendingascension.com. I have the website in both the Rumble and the YouTube descriptions, but this is her published book section. So we have A is for Ascension. It's the ABCs of Metaphysics, is for children and adults to enjoy. The series takes you through metaphysical words and concepts to help open everyone's minds to all the mystery of the world that are now being revealed. If you are interested in magic, metaphysics, ascension, magical creatures, spirit, soul, the divine, and more, these books are for you. Our children's minds need to be affirmed of their divine cosmic origins. These books will help them do that, and I completely agree. I completely agree with that. And then we have, actually, I got a chance to read this one, and this one was really cool. The Tiny Superhero. And Aiden is a bright and tiny superhero who may be small in size, but whose heart and mind are mighty. Definitely. In this beautifully illustrated metaphysical adventure, children will discover the secret Aiden already knows. Your thoughts create your world. Your actions bring those thoughts to life. And your connection to the divine source lives within your very own mind. Aiden learns that being a superhero isn't about flying or fighting. It's about thinking, loving thoughts, doing good deeds. Very big feels on that. But and living as your truest, most authentic self. Guided by his deep inner knowing and a heart full of joy, Aiden shows children how to awaken their own magical abilities and remember the most powerful truth of all. We are one. We are all divine. So yes, guys, if you are a spiritual parent out there and you want to get good books for your kids that are going to help them, I am going to say that you go over and you visit Miss Dyanna over on transcendingascension.com and you grab her books and you help support New Earth Entertainment. Alrighty, guys. And of course, we have Divine Creation Gifts. Lynn, all the way over in West Virginia, a homegrown metaphysics shop. Guys, you will get free shipping on orders over $50 if you need to restock your crystal collection. If you're looking for different herbs, tinctures, if you're looking for even maybe a journal to log your spiritual experiences in, I would go ahead on over here to Divine Creation Gifts and support somebody in the community. And look, I didn't even see that. She threw me on the bottom of the page. Look at that. Thanks, Lynn. I appreciate that very, very much. And they also got a YouTube channel they've just come out with as well. So I will link that in the description. But yeah, guys, if you're looking for any crystals, tinctures, herbs, any kind of journaling, supplies for your ceremonies where you howl at the full moon naked in the daytime. I'm just kidding. But yes, no, head on over to Divine Creation Gifts and support somebody in our community. Seriously. And last but not least, the front runner of New Earth Entertainment, the Lion, my friend David. And guys, he's coming up at 2 more film festivals. You saw him here last week. So guys, go over and support New Earth Entertainment, the front runner in New Earth Entertainment. We have David the Lion. Like I said, his comic books available on Kindle, but I would go ahead and get the books themselves, the physical edition. They're absolutely awesome. I can't tell you how cool it is when I first got it. Like I said, I'll keep saying it, but it was like I got this limited edition first issue of a comic, and it was like just so special, man. And David's such a great person. And yes, go support his movie, Dear Lilith, I Love You. Like I said, it won an award at the film festival in New York. He's been featured in articles and newspapers about bringing spiritual archetypes back to comic books. And so, guys, I can't give enough love to David on what he's doing. Go out there and support him, guys. This is how we build New Earth. We support each other. We break away from this false matrix system, and we start building. We start building anew. So we saw Jason came in the chat. What's up, man? Nice to see you. You should tell us what the strain of the day is. But nonetheless, guys, let's dive right in. Let's dive right into what we're going to be talking about tonight. So we're going to be taking a deeper dive. Spinja, we're going to be taking a deeper dive into the subtle body. And why are we doing this? Because if you guys have listened to me long enough and you have heard what I had to say, you know how important the subtle body is. It's not just important for our overall physical, mental, and spiritual health. It is important for achieving higher states of consciousness, higher states of being. So one of the things I'm going to try to do tonight is I'm going to try to demystify this just a little bit for everybody. Because, we have some confusion when we talk about the subtle body. So it's funny enough, I have some things we're going to demystify right off the bat. So we have this right here, subtle body, energy body. What the fuck? Yes, I know. So there's a lot of different terms and they can get confusing. But one of the things I'm going to tell you is that the subtle body and the energy body are one in the same. Okay. So if you hear somebody say subtle body when talking about it, or if you hear somebody say energy body, it's tomato, guys. It's not very complicated. I know, in the spiritual community, we love to have all of these complex logistics. And real quick, I'm going to address what Phil said real quick. We'll touch on this at the end of the show. because I'm glad you said something about it. But I have my own opinion on it. But yeah, we're gonna touch on this at the end of the show. But of course, guys, you're going to hear all of this different spiritual, I'll call it the spiritual vernacular when it comes to talking about the subtle body. But yes, the subtle body and the energy body are one and the same. Okay, just a different word, tomato, tomato. So let's get that one out of the way. The second one we're going to get out of the way is this. So we have differences in the subtle body versus occult anatomy. So one of the interesting things about the subtle body is, yes, it is part of our occult anatomy. Don't get me wrong. But however, when people are referring to occult or metaphysical anatomy, that usually goes with the divine symbolism that's in our body. We've done an episode on this, the 33 vertebrae, the 12 olfactory nerves, the 144,000 nadis, the potential 144,000 petals on the crown chakra, how our pelvis, the skeleton, if you look at just our pelvis itself without any muscle or tissue, how it looks like Ganesh, the head of Ganesh. And that's really interesting too, because Ganesh is the energy that represents the root chakra, and that's where our root chakra is located in the pelvis at the very bottom. So that's just something I kind of want to clear up right off the bat, because I know this has been a confusing term for a lot of people. They're like, is the subtle body occult anatomy, or what is it? And yes, it is. It is an aspect of our occult anatomy, but it is not our occult anatomy itself. It is an aspect of it. So I just wanted to get that out of the way real quick. And then one of the other things I'm going to bring up real quick before we start hopping into this episode in its entirety is this. The subtle body is real. It's not metaphysical speculation. And this is something that I proved in my last episode in season 2 when I talked about the subtle body. And in fact, I'm going to bring up those 2 articles really quick that showcase that this is a very real thing, and we need to stop treating it as metaphysical speculation. I know a lot of people kind of still do, maybe even on a subconscious level, but one of the things that's going to make or break your spiritual evolution altogether is you bringing it into the forefront of this being a real thing. And once you understand and you start to integrate this into you, that this is a real thing, I guarantee you that you're going to see some very remarkable changes in your life altogether. So let's bring this up real fast. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to bring up the first article. So we have anatomical evidence of acupuncture meridians. So I actually brought this up on the season 2 subtle body episode, the first one. I'm not going to dive into it. I was in a little bit of a rush tonight. I'll add all these links after we were done with the live show, so just bear with me. But yes, no. So we actually have anatomical evidence, a whole actual study done on the meridian system, which is part of our nadis, the subtle body, by NIH PubMed here. And we actually have, which is really interesting in this whole article, is we actually have anatomical photos of these meridian points. Okay, so just keep digging here with me for a second, and you will see that, I mean, you can even see they're highlighted. And what they noticed in these meridian points is that this was very thin, and it almost permeated down into the nervous system structure of the body. And this was a very thin area. It's very porous. It's very soft. So, and there's multiple photos we have here of these. Even this is a very good one right here. This is an excellent one of a meridian point here in the foot. So yes, guys, like this is not metaphysical speculation. Okay. This is a very real thing. All right. And I hate to sound this way, but the sooner we all understand that this is a real thing, a lot of amazing things are going to come our way, especially for collective humanity. So yes, guys, this is actually a very interesting study. And of course, it is typical in these studies, despite all of the evidence that we're shown in this specific study right here. At the end, they're like, it is inconclusive that this is Phil, piece of foot. And yes, Dyanna, they are proven 100%. But it's like, even at the end of this article, it's just like, anytime you see an article like this, it is like there's no solid evidence that the meridian system exists. And it's like, you just showed me a whole page of photos of the meridian system in an anatomically sound way. This is an autopsy. You're showing us a real human body, and you're showing us these meridian points, but you're saying it's inconclusive if they exist. Okay, money's involved there. We'll get to that later. But nonetheless, guys, yes, no, this is a real thing. And once you start to integrate and you start to understand that this is a very real thing, you even have photos of the gastric meridians, the small intestine meridians, and things like that. So you can even see these differences here. So this is just absolutely amazing, and this is the other thing I wanted to. I mean, you even look at Chinese medicine, guys, that works with the meridian system. Even our friend Don in the chat has had a Tibetan monk provide him different medicines based off of Chinese medicine to help him with his ailments. And it's going to, you guys are cracking me up in the chat. But yeah, no. So this is, I mean, this wouldn't have been practiced, guys, for millennia. Okay, and even Don says he's feeling better. Look at that. So this has been practiced for millennia, guys. And this is the thing: if something like this has been practiced for millennia and it works soundly, we need to be looking at it. Bottom line. So the next one I'm going to bring up too here is another NIH PubMed article when it comes to the meridian system too. So we have visualization of the meridian system based on biomedical information. And I won't bore you guys. I know my science speak, but I'm not gonna dive into that as much. But here we have, a whole study and even some images on certain meridian points that have to do with lower back pain. So, guys, there's studies on this. Okay, so this is what I mean. This is not metaphysical speculation. This is not us just wishing and believing we have a chakra system, a meridian system, and things like this. This is real. I've even showed you guys in the past subtle body episodes on how you could actually flex your chakras. I'm not getting into it tonight. Maybe I will at the end if you guys want to hear it again. But you can actually flex your chakras like a muscle. So guys, if you can flex something like that, it's real. You're feeling it, okay? So one of the other things we're going to get into real quick, and this is something I want to highlight before we dive in a little bit further, is this, okay? The physical is condensed energy. So one of the things you guys have heard me start to talk about a lot of is how we are emanations here. That we are a emanation of a higher being, okay, and appearing in the physicality. So this is the one thing when we're talking about the subtle body that I want everybody to take into consideration before we kind of move forward. Because this little tidbit right here, this physical is condensed energy, is going to be essentially what demystifies the subtle body and how you can work it, and you can clear yourself in your own channels, in your own energy with your own work. Yes, you don't have to go to a healer anymore. Although I'm not saying don't go to a healer if you want to, okay? Because I know two very talented healers who are two good friends of mine. And I'm going to tell you what, like sometimes you need an extra set of hands. But for the most part, you will be able to heal yourself once I demystify this. So let's kind of dive in real quick here. So, so I'm just looking at some of the comments. So we got Lee. Thank you, Lee. Appreciate it, man. Thank you. Dyanna, flex everything always. I completely agree. And Yes, Sam and Kirsten, you can heal yourself, guys. I love all the love tonight. I'm really appreciating that so much. All right, guys, so let's dive in. So, what is the subtle body? And this is kind of why I did that. The physical is condensed energy. So we can kind of dive right into this. So let's go here. We have boom, boom, boom. Pull this up. It's nice just to be sitting with you guys by myself tonight. It is. It's been a long time since we've all just sat down together. Alrighty, guys. So I'm going to bring up a couple of things on the subtle body. And actually, I really like this because the AI overview on this one is correct. Yes, I always verify the AI overview before I even show it to you guys. And this is correct. So we have the subtle body is a non-physical energetic body that exists, which I'm actually going to correct that as we go forward. Well, yes, it is not physical. It is intertwined with our physicality. So that's why I said, remember, the physical is just condensed energy. And that's how you have to see this. So the subtle body is a, we'll say, non-physical for now, energetic body that exists alongside the physical body and is considered a bridge between the physical and spiritual realms in many esoteric and mystical traditions. It is described as being composed of energy channels, nadis. We've talked about the nadis many times on this channel. Energy centers, chakras. We've talked about the chakras many times on this channel. And the life force energy, prana, chi, ki, whatever you see it as. But yes, and that which are believed to influence one's physical, emotional, and mental state. And it absolutely does. It absolutely does. And I know there's people in the audience tonight who can now attest. And we know that Sam is our friend Sam's one of those people who can attest. We got 33 people watching. They're letting me know. But Sam is now a Kundalini yoga practitioner herself. Dyanna definitely gives it a whirl, which is awesome. And now we have Dawn and Spinja, who have hopped on the Kundalini yoga train. And they have both been noticing, everyone I've talked to who has walked into this practice, who has made it their own. In fact, it's more of a spiritual training than a practice. That's the way we should see it. But anybody who has walked into working with their subtle body has experienced that profound effect in their physical, emotional, and mental states. Yep, we got Don every morning with Yogi Gems. I love it, man. Hell yeah. And but it does. It ultimately does. And I'm going to explain to you why. So let's just keep diving in just a little bit more. So let's get down. We all know that prana is the vital life force energy that flows through the subtle body. How do we acquire prana? How do we increase the amount of prana that we can hold in our subtle body? Let's take a look at that real quick. The number one way we can do that is through deep breathing. Yes, it's as simple as that. See, this is what I mean, man. The spiritual community loves to overcomplicate things. And that's why I feel like I'm here, because I'm here like, dude, like, spirit's simple. Okay. Like, you guys got to stop trying to overcomplicate everything with these logistics. What it does is it turns people off. It makes people think that this is something that's mystified. That's something that's unachievable. And you guys have heard me talk about on this channel, and you've heard us on Church of True Christ with Dyanna and Don talk about how they try to make everything like this to make it seem like it's unachievable for the average person. But I'm here to tell you that it is. Okay. How do you increase your prana? You breathe deeply. Excuse me. The oxygen that we take in is full of universal prana, or we talk about in the Taoist or in the Buddhist things, universal chi. Okay, it's full of it, and if you want to increase the amount of prana in your body, all you really need to do is just breathe deeply. It's that simple, guys. It's not something that's difficult. It's not something that you need to hike 13 miles to the Himalayan plateau mountaintops and breathe the fresh air up there, and that's where the prana's at. No, well, don't get me wrong. The air is probably real nice and fresh up there. I live in Colorado, and I know when I'm on top of a mountain, the air is nice and fresh up there. But you don't have to do that to increase the amount of prana in your body. So demystifying that, number one. Number two, the nadis. All right, a vast network of channels through which prana flows, with three main channels being the Shushma, which is your main nadi channel. It is the spinal column itself. You guys have heard me call it the energetic interstate of the body, and that is exactly what it is. When you have a very nice open spine, the energy and the prana will flow through you in the most efficient way, and it will be able to get to all those places it needs to get to improve that longevity, that physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health. And then we have the Ida and the Pingala nadis, your sun and moon channels, which actually kind of weave across it in a certain area. They're mostly located alongside of it. But there's an area where they do cross. So yes. And how do we work our nadis? How do we open our nadis? Well, it kind of just said it like up here. Practices like meditation, yoga, and breath work, guys. Even grounding. Something as simple as going out and yes, Dyanna, definitely. Forest cleans air and energy too. Creeks flowing water. Exactly, dude. Exactly. She's helping me demystify this like it is. And so the number one thing I'm going to say too, though, is with just something as simple as grounding, just like as even Dyanna said, or going out into natural bodies of water, will help open up your nadis, because it's even been shown that, even spending 4 hours in nature and listening to the frequency of nature itself just heals the body and opens all of the energy channels anyways. So yes, guys, demystifying that, number one. You don't need to, again, go to a monastery for 40 years and do all of these rigorous practices to open your nadis. You can just open them with something as simple as meditation, grounding, breath work, all of those things. So guys, demystifying that, number two. So the next thing we're going to demystify is the chakra system. Yes, Mom, living by the ocean is awesome. So the chakras, okay. The energy centers or wheels located along the central channel where the nadis intersect. They are associated with different aspects of the body and mind, with the 7 main chakras running from the base of the spine to the crown of the head. And of course, guys, how do we activate our chakras? Super easy. Flexing the spine, contracting the chakras, doing the chakra locks and the chakra holds. So again, demystifying that, your chakras are real. If you can flex it in your body, is that metaphysical speculation? Is it? No. Okay. So if you can actually flex your root chakra, you can contract your solar plexus chakra, you can contract your throat chakra, you can contract your third eye. Okay, these are known as the chakra locks themselves. And you can even contract the heart by contracting your chest. Okay, like guys, this is not something you need. You need, again, the monastery. Okay, you don't need to do all this. It's just as simple as this. And this is grassroots spirituality, my friend. This is understanding that a lot of these concepts that have been presented to us over the years, okay, that are seemingly mystical concepts. I'm not going to lie. There's definitely an air of mysticism to them. There is, but that doesn't mean you can't achieve it, and that doesn't mean you can't work with it. Bottom line. Thanks, Phil. I really appreciate that. I like to demystify and simplify things for people, because the spiritual community does. It likes to overcomplicate everything. You know what I mean? It's like, if you're not circumambulating the mountain 13 times at exactly 3:33 p.m. every single day, you're doing it wrong. And that's how the spiritual community acts, man. And it's not like that. It's going to be special, and it's going to be unique to everybody. Everybody's going to have their own way of doing this, man. And that's the cool thing about this. So the next thing I'm going to say are the koshas. Now, I don't talk about the koshas a lot, because you can dive into them if you want, and I'll leave a link for that. But the koshas are essentially the sheaths. In yoga, we technically have 10 bodies. All right. And I've talked about these 10 bodies before, but the koshas are like the layers in between those sheaths, in between the different bodies. As far as activating your koshas, you don't really need to do that. But what you can do through certain spiritual practices is you can thin the layers a little bit, so these different bodies of that we have kind of work together in a more synergistic fashion as opposed to a separate fashion. So there's nothing really special that you need to do for the koshas, but what you can do for the koshas is, if you are doing some kind of spiritual practice, you will already be working with those. That I can guarantee you. So you don't have to overcomplicate that at all. And yes, Dyanna, they keep their old programs and try to take it to the new world. It won't fit 100%. And too many terms can muddy it anyways. Truth is simple and good, gives us the answers when we listen. So clean energy is the win. I love it. And that's true. We can't. Yes, Phil, even. Absolutely, man. You playing the Native American flute and pan flute is amazing breathwork practice, and you're getting that extra prana and you're opening your nadis, man. Something as simple as this, guys. And that's really all there is to it, man. It's all there is to it. So like, and that's why I like doing this for you guys, because it does, when we're diving into the esoteric information and the spiritual information, things can get confusing. I have now going on almost 18 years in this field, even though I'm notorious for the past few that I've been doing BG-Cast. I've been studying this stuff since 2008. I've had much trial and error when it comes to understanding these concepts. And through that, I can deliver to you the most simplified way. So that is something I just wanted to throw in there. I'm glad you guys are enjoying this, because this is exactly the simplest thing you can do to completely activate your subtle body system. Now, the one thing I kind of want to bring up too is I'm going to bring up Manly P. Hall's book, The Occult Anatomy of Man, because I kind of want to show you guys a different model of the energy body system. To me, this is a little overly complex. But the reason why I like to show this is because you can see the similarities between all of the different spiritualities and religions when it comes to the subtle body system. So I actually like to show that for this purpose. Now, would I recommend you use this chart when you're trying to do your subtle body work and your subtle body research? Absolutely not. I don't recommend you use this, because as you can see right here, it's a little complex. However, if you like to dive into the complex, then by all means go right ahead. But one of the reasons why I like to bring this up is because take a look at this right here. You see the chakra system. You see the Kabbalistic tree of life. And what's even interesting with this is you can see the different chakra points that correlate to the different areas on the Kabbalistic tree of life. And then you can even see where the olfactory nerves, you can see, if you guys look really closely, I'll zoom in on it just so you can even see the zodiacs. Because we talk about the 12 zodiac signs, the 12 disciples, the 12 olfactory nerves. And you can kind of see how these intertwine with the body. And, on my, metaphysical anatomy show that I did not too long ago in season 3, I showed the, what I will call how important those olfactory nerves are for the experience that we have here. They're responsible for taste, touch, smell, hearing, physical, all of the physical sensations that kind of apply to our awareness here. And that's the one thing I always like to also kind of demystify, or I kind of like to throw my 2 cents in when it comes to this stuff, is when we talk awareness, guys, we're not just right here. Okay, we're not just up here where the head is. Okay, and I think this is what a lot of people do um, in the spiritual communities. When they think consciousness and they think awareness, they think here. No, my question to you is, when you stub your toe, you feel that pain, do you not? That is awareness, my friend, on your toe. Yes, exactly. Your whole body is your awareness, guys. We need to get out of the mentality that your awareness is just here. Well, yes, this is kind of like a focal point of your awareness, but your awareness is everywhere, guys. So that's why I like to show you this chart as well, because when you take a look at this, you can see on how our awareness spreads through our whole body. And it even kind of gives you a little bit of the head. The front face is electric, back is magnetic, right side is magnetic, left side is electric, interior is electric. And then you have the eyes, front and back are neutral, right and left sides are electric, interior is magnetic. It even gives you the polarities of these different systems in our body. And if you even kind of want to go down just a little bit more, by the way, I know you see the swastika. Remember, the swastika in that kind of context actually means a good thing. It's when it is slightly tilted that it means a bad thing. But then here is the other kind of chart of the metaphysical anatomy, a little bit more of a rawer chart than what we saw above, but similar context. You can see the chakra points and how they correlate to the different areas of body. You can still see the Kabbalistic tree of life. So yes, guys, this is the one thing. The subtle body system is shown very similarly in all of the different spiritual traditions. It's again tomato. All right. What we're dealing with a lot of here tonight is tomato. Okay. So guys, that's the one thing I wanted to kind of show you real quick, just to kind of give you a scope on how much this has been looked into over the ages of humanity. Even though I think we've probably been reset at this point and we lost more information, who knows? But this is how it's been looked at in the greater scope of humanity. Thank you, Jason. I appreciate it. If you want it, I will definitely send you the link. So nonetheless, guys, I wanted to talk with you about that. I wanted to show that to you. Now, like I said, in my personal recommendation, I don't use that chart. It can get overtly complex. You really got to squint. You got to look. If you're even trying to work with one system, like if you're trying to work with the chakra system as opposed to the Kabbalistic tree of life, it can get confusing with the overlays, even though there's similarities there. But if you like looking at that stuff, again, I will put the link in the bottom of the description when I get done with the live stream tonight, so you guys can take a look at Manly P. Hall's Occult Anatomy. Alrighty, guys, we are going to go back to this once again. The physical is condensed energy. So one of the reasons why the subtle body system, why it's important to work the subtle body system, is because this is where we store the trauma. This is where we store the energy from the experiences that we've had in our life. So you guys remember when I was talking about how our awareness is everywhere. Well, I think now is an amazing time to talk about our fascia. So let's bring up our fascia. I'm going to bring up a little tiny model of our fascia here. So boom, boom. So this is actually, it's really interesting too. You talk about the spine being the energetic highway, the energetic interstate of the body. Just look at all of that fascia that is surrounding the spine, that's covering the spine. And you can see almost in the front here how it crosses over like the Ida and Pingala nadis do. And look at that. You can even see the life nerve in the back. And we all know that the life nerve is actually a very, very important thing when it comes to overall physical, spiritual, and mental health. Okay, but the fascia is ultimately the connection point for our subtle body. So the number one thing I am trying to, yes, Dyanna. Hold on. Let me get up here to Spinja's. Diana's killing it tonight. Spinja said, loving this breakdown. It is really scary starting on this journey because all things are made to look so complicated. Thank you for keeping it real. This should go in the newbie reference file. Absolutely, Spinja. And that's why I told you to stop by tonight, because I knew you would like this. And now we have Dyanna again killing it. Expanding fascia expands our ability to download, and our auric field clears trauma and stored things. Absolutely. Yes, no. And that is exactly what I am getting to, because this is where we do store our trauma, guys. We store it in our fascia, and our fascia is very interconnected with our subtle body, aka our energy body. Tomato. But so and this is why I keep emphasizing the physical is condensed energy for this very reason. Hey, Lynn, thanks for joining us. I do human garage fascia maneuvers. It's the best. They have a YouTube channel and have donation-based content on their website. Well, hell yeah, Lynn. If you want to go ahead and throw that link in, or if you want to send it to me real quick on like FB Messenger or something like that, I will go ahead and I will toss that in the description too, because yes, the fascia is important. And Lee, absolutely, yes, you can store trauma and anger, especially in organs. Your liver is actually if you've got a lot of built up anger in you, a lot of, built up I did too at a time. Trust me, I'm not perfect. But doing work with your liver is actually going to help you with that. It's going to help you release that. And yes, too, we do store stress in our organs, but working the subtle body is actually going to work with your organs too. And that is what I'm going to get to as we come full circle. So yes, yes, you can store this trauma in your organs. That is another place too that it can go. And that's why you've noticed that a lot of the people who, a good example of this too is like a lot of people who have just been really angry in their life or have been really dark. They just always seem to have issues with their organs, if something's going on there. So I've seen it firsthand. A lot of people, especially if they are very angry in life or if they're very bitter, I've noticed that a lot of that actually transfers to their organs. So yeah, that's something that definitely happens. I do want to clarify that too. And no, Lee, it can happen too. And that's why you notice when you get angry and when you are angry, your body just doesn't feel right. Like when you get like really angry and like very stressed, like it's almost like you feel the load on your body that frequency causes. It does. I mean, that's why to me, man, it's not worth it to hold on to anger. It's not worth it to hold on to stress, because it is and that's why I say, you remember the physical is condensed energy, right? So I've been highlighting that this whole time. So imagine what you're doing to your condensed energy if you're giving it angry energy. You're making the condensed energy pretty angry too, and you're making it take on that frequency of that anger, that lower frequency. So yes, absolutely. That is why we don't want to hold on to anger. That is why we don't want to. I think you just sent me that link. Thank you so much, Lynn. I appreciate you. But yeah, this is why we want to work and we want to do that healing, man. So this doesn't happen to us. We don't want to end up having health problems due to the anger, the bitterness that we're carrying. But also too, the fascia is a huge part of our awareness, something that Dyanna highlighted a little bit earlier. So thanks, Lynn. Yeah, I saw it for sure. I appreciate you. And so yeah, no, the fascia is part of this. And while we store this negative energy and these negative emotions from our trauma, our fascia, our organs, all of that, there's a way that we can release it to be transmuted and to be used for our higher purposes, aka being creators in creation, manifesting our most joyful, abundant, and most certainly happy lives. Yes, Don. Frequency affects liquid. We are totally, man. Yes. Liquid condensed energy. Yes. So this is how we need to start looking at our physicality. Is as condensed energy. And absolutely, Phil, everything that manifests in the physical first in the spirit energy realms, absolutely. And that's why you notice that a lot of physical ailments are going to be tied to energetic causes a lot of the times. And really, when we get down to it, illness itself, at least in my eyes, and I know all of you in the audience probably agree with me tonight. Hey, Michelle, what's going on? Nice to see you. And I know all of you guys in the audience can agree with me tonight that illness itself is just an energetic imbalance. And I know the Church of Christian Science sees it that way. I know a lot of the different Taoist and Buddhist traditions see it that way. I know a lot of the Vedic traditions see it that way too. So that's why the four primary principles of good health, according to the Vedic traditions, is number one is having a positive mindset. And I'm going to tell you what, Lee rocks that positive mindset. And if there's anybody I would tell you to go to positive mindset training for, it is Lee in the chat right now, because the man just has that aspect of longevity down to a freaking science, man. I'm giving you credit where credit's due. So positive mindset. The next thing, sunlight, water, and fresh air. And yeah, Dyanna, no, exactly. That's why I brought it up, because I dig what Christian Science is doing. I know you do too. I know we've talked about this before. So, but yes, no. So that's exactly, if you want to learn about positive mindset, go to Lee. I'm telling you that. But second, good water, fresh air, and sunlight. That's number two. Okay. So yes, go outside, get sunlight, drink the fucking spinach. I'm gonna put that on the screen real quick because I got to. Yes, spreading farts and smiles. Exactly. That's a positive mindset. And hey Karen, what's going on? Good to see you. But that said, sunshine, water, and fresh air, number two. We always want to drink the best water. We want to drink the cleanest water. We want living water. We want water that is in high frequency. We don't want to just go to Dasani, which is crap, and drink Dasani bottled water. That's not living water. That's freaking dead water. No, Michelle, that doesn't mean he can breathe through his ears. But and then number three is meditation. Okay. And meditation, yeah, because meditation, it resets you. Any kind of meditation, guys. And that's the thing about meditation, man. You don't have to sit down on a zafu cushion and be in silence for 15 minutes. You can go do a walking meditation. You can go meditate on top of a mountaintop. You can do a standing meditation. You can do a laying down meditation. You can do all kinds of meditation. Again, meditation does not have to be strict, sitting upright, zazen style. Okay, don't get me wrong. If you're a diehard like I am, I love zazen. It's great. It's an awesome meditation, but it does not have to be done that way. So yes, meditation being the third principle of good health, and then the fourth principle, Lynn, exercise. Go and exercise, guys. Exactly. Okay, and I'm going to throw in eat clean foods too for number 5. You don't want to eat crap matrix food. I call it matrix food now, dude. And the simulation marts, aka your chain grocery stores, I call them simulation marts now. That's my new term for them, because they're very much simulated. And yes, I am having trouble not laughing. I'm having a great time tonight. That's why. It's good just to be sitting down with you guys one-on-one. But if you go to the simulation marts, and you look at the food that you're seeing at the simulation marts, I don't know about you guys, but beef's not supposed to be light pink. It's not supposed to be light pink. All right. So and some of the veggies have been looking kind of off. So yeah, definitely start going if you can help it. Like again, I said, biggest trick of the trade for getting very affordable, really good quality food, Asian grocery stores. I won't say it enough. Their veggies and their meat are normally less expensive, but of a higher quality. than what you're going to get at your local simulation mart. Of course, try to find butchers, try to find local organic grocers, farmers markets, grow your own veggies. I got my indoor garden going on right now. Of course, yeah, Phil, human sausages. Yeah, that's what I was looking at, that beef at Simulation Mart, man, and it was pink. And I'm just looking at that and I'm like, it was light pink, dude. When have you seen beef ever be light pink? It was not pork. It said beef on the label and it looked like a steak, but it was light pink. You never see it. Yes, I can see you, Karen. I can. But yeah, guys. So those are the 5 recipes for good health. It's not hard. It's not simple. Again, our society and our collective always tries to overcomplicate our health. Overcomplicate our health, Michelle. And hold on one second. Sorry, dog's barking. But ultimately, yes, it's not hard to be healthy, guys. It's not hard to take care of your health and take your health in control. If you follow those 5 simple steps, you will not be sick again. I promise you that. I haven't been sick in 5 years. I didn't get COVID. Okay. What's that telling you? And it's because of the way I live. All right. Phil, yes. All I'm going to say, Dyanna, all I'm going to say is Jordan Maxwell on that. And we can maybe dive into that at the end of the show too. We're coming up on the last little bit of it here. So alrighty, guys. So yeah, that's the recipe, man. So what I'm gonna do at this point now is I'm going to give you the final full circle. I'm gonna give you the final breakdown on how to work your subtle body. So do you remember how I said, I'm gonna bring up the banner again. The physical is condensed energy, right? So when you do certain movements with your physical body, by default, you are engaging and you are working your subtle body. And how do we do this? It's as simple as this. You do certain intentional directed movements, and they will help you work your subtle body. It's as simple as doing a spinal flex. No, Karen, you're not blocked. I can see you. I promise. Hold on. Can everybody see Karen in the chat? Give me yeah, okay. You're seeing Karen. You're not blocked. I see your comments. Can you see me? Say yes if you can see me. You're not blocked. I would never block you, Karen. So everybody can see you. Yeah, everybody can see you here. So you're definitely not blocked. I promise you that. I would never block you. Okay, so yeah, like, oh my goodness, dude, we love Karen here. Why would we block her? So yeah, everybody sees you for sure. But certain movements, for instance, if you want to work the whole chakra system, a spinal flex or decompressing the spine. Very simple. Forward, back. Number 1, working the heart meridians. A lot of it is a twisting movement. Bringing your arms up here, twisting that works the heart meridians. Your forearms work the heart meridians. There are these certain physical things that you do that actually work with the subtle body. Okay. In order to work the subtle body, you have to do physical movements. Yes. Now, don't get me wrong. You can take an energetic based approach. You can do things like Reiki. Excuse me. You can do things like acupuncture. You can do things like that. But to me, the real meat and potatoes of subtle body work is through the physical body itself. Yes. And also what you're going to get is I am breathing, Michelle. I am. It's just for some reason, I think there's somebody out there who likes to make me cough during my shows. But yeah, no, Karen, you're not blocked. Is that you up there? Hold on, let me see here. Okay, cool. All right, good. At least you can see. Karen, we would never block you over here, man. Never at all. So what was I gonna say? But yes, no, this is the meat and potatoes for working the subtle body is the physical aspect of it. So what are great physical ways we can work our subtle body? I'm gonna give you I'm gonna give you a list. Number one, obviously Kundalini Kriya Yoga, even Ashtanga yoga, even Vinyasa yoga, all the yogas are going to work your subtle body system, and they're going to bring your subtle body into alignment. Number one. Number two, Qigong. Yes, we all know a lot. I know there's people in the audience practice Qigong. I still practice Qigong before I box. Yes, Lee, we're getting to that, definitely. But Qigong, am I blushing? Oh, you guys always make me blush. You guys always do. It's because you guys are awesome. But yeah, no, Qigong, there's a lot of Qigong practitioners. I know Jay Skyrunner, he's big into Qigong. Yes, Qigong will help you work your subtle body. I still do it. In my opinion, it has a different effect than Kundalini yoga and the yogas do. It more amplifies your subtle body energy, and it amplifies it into your external sphere a little bit more. That's why a lot of the martial artists do Qigong, boxers, things like that, because it amplifies that subtle body energy into the physical sphere a lot more. But that's why I do both, man. And this is the thing. You're going to have a lot of devout Qigong practitioners who are like, you only do the esoteric yoga. You only do it. You don't do anything else with it. You only do the esoteric yoga. And but I'm going to tell you this, man. Kundalini yoga and Qigong definitely complement each other when they are done together. So that's another way you can work your subtle body too. Also, the Nidon practices, it's another type of internal alchemy. The Nidon are not just like Qigong. The Nidon, it's not exactly Taoist, it's not exactly Buddhist. It's kind of a weird thing that kind of sits in between them. Both spiritualities partake in the practice, but it is not claimed by either side of the fence that the Nidon practices or Qigong are either strictly Taoist or strictly Buddhist, but both Taoist and Buddhist do them. It's kind of a weird area. I know. It's probably the old fundamentalism stuff that gets in the way with that. So that's another way you can work your subtle body. And yes, Lee brought up a very good point. Breath work, absolutely. Breath work will work your subtle body because you are taking in more prana. And you are taking in, and by taking in more prana alone, you're activating your subtle body in and of itself. So yes, breathing deeply, breath work. I mean, you can do Wim Hof, you can do breath of fire, you can do void. There's so many different types of breath work, man. You have an entire encyclopedia to choose from when it comes from breathwork practices. So yes, that's another thing that you can do too. And then also, of course, meditation, also getting yourself healed. Reiki does indeed work with the subtle body. It helps align our energy body. It helps clear blockages. So there are many ways that you can work your subtle body. I just gave you a whole list, guys. It's not hard. Okay. And that's the one thing I'm going to say. I demystified it for you tonight. This is a real thing. Number one, this is not metaphysical speculation. Okay. This isn't like, oh, I think it's real. I believe it's real. It's just real. Okay. So the minute you start to take that mentality and that realization into you and you start to integrate it into your conscious everyday life, you're going to notice some really awesome and amazing effects from that. Okay. Understand, okay, that the physical is condensed energy. So when you work with your physical body in certain ways, you by default are going to be working with your subtle body. These movements, this internal alchemy, okay, that helps kind of build it up and fortify it. Okay, so these are the things I want to leave with you guys before we hop into the fun time here about Three Eye Atlas and Jordan Maxwell. But if you guys want to, yes, Phil, yes, Belief is the enemy of knowing. Exactly. And Karen. But yeah, guys, that's that's the complete activation. That's the subtle body part 2. And it's not, again, you don't have to travel by boat for 3 months to reach a destination where then you need to hike 26 miles to the top of the Himalayan plateau. And just to work your subtle body. You don't have to do that. Okay. I know a lot of the fundamentalists out there are stuck on that idea. They really do want to take the 3-month-long boat voyage and then the 26-mile hike to the top of that mountaintop or that monastery just to work their subtle body. You know, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm a diehard, but I'm also about being ergonomic. All right. Like, yeah, if I ever got the chance to go to the Himalayan plateau and meditate at a monastery, I'm going to take that up for sure. But is that the most absolutely necessary thing I need for my spiritual evolution and to bring the divine spark into my life even further? No, it's not. So nonetheless, guys, that concludes it. Let's get down to the talking section. So we got 3-eye atlas on the chopping block. And I see many different opinions already in the audience right here. So I see Phil thinks it's an absolute distraction. Michelle thinks that there are 5 million reptilians in stasis on 3-eye atlas. If that's the case, we need to shoot a nuke at it right now. You guys know how I feel about the reptilians. You guys already know. But if that's the case, it needs to go down now. 3-eye atlas, Don. It's that strange comet that's heading our way. It's going to make perihelion around the sun, I guess, at the end of October. There's a lot of different theories as to what it could be. Karen, the subtle body is the only thing that's not fake and gay. Totally agreed on that. This is the one thing I'm going to say when it comes to things that we see in the mainstream media. I'm going to give my opinion on it. Well, yes, it could be something. Yep, there we go. Even Dyanna coming in. Shift timelines to where that's not an issue. Trans-surfing. Justin Bieber is a reptilian. Yeah, no, a lot of them are. Everybody knows how much I dislike the reptilians. So, like I said, if it is really a ship with 5 million reptilians in stasis, we need to take that shit down now, because we don't need any more of them here. They already walk among us. They already like to fuck with us and make our lives hell. We don't need another 5 million on this planet. We don't. And like I said, and I know some people get angry when I say this, all of their heads deserve to be on stakes in our yards. So the rest of them get the idea. So that's my opinion on that. But as I was saying, I digress. The one thing I'll say about things we see on the news and things we see in the mainstream is we take them with a grain of salt. Always. We take them with a grain of salt. Why? That's awesome, Michelle. I'm happy for you. I just saw that. That's cool. You found out you're a seraphim. But one thing I'm going to say is we take it with a grain of salt. Why? Because they know that our collective consciousness manifests events, right? That's the biggest kept secret that the general collective does not know about. Our collective consciousness is what manifests events for them. And since Phil is new here, I am going to talk about the Truman Show analogy. I've talked about it on this show, many times, but right now we live in something like the Truman Show. While yes, we are advertised products on a daily basis, but we are also advertised ideologies, narratives, and trains of thought. And whatever ideology, narrative, or train of thought that we buy into will become our subjective reality. And if enough of the collective buys, no, you haven't heard me say this before, Phil. That's why. I didn't mean to say you were new here. But if the collective buys, enough of the collective buys into a ideology, a narrative, or a thought, what is going to happen is it's going to manifest into the collective sphere. So when we see things like Three Eye Atlas, and we see things like Doomsday prophecies, and we see things, that are terror events, things that cause mass fear, that they try to portray to the general public, yes, like COVID, Phil, for sure. And if enough of our collective buys into that narrative or ideology, it will manifest forth into the collective sphere. So that's why I always say anything you see in the mainstream, if the government's talking about it, if the media is talking about it, shoot, even if it's a viral thing online, all right? And always take it with a grain of salt, because ultimately you have to remember that you are the creator of your reality. You are the creator. We're all creators, and we co-create together. And that's why having discernment and having that personal sovereignty and that personal agency is of the utmost importance when we are. Yeah, Michelle, I saw that. It was 2016 through 2018. Yeah, that was pretty weird. But that's the point, guys. So when we see things like Three Eye Atlas, we see things like, oh, there's going to be a world war, or oh, there's going to be this, oh, there's going to be that. They want you to manifest that for them. So that's my opinion on Three Eye Atlas. Is what it could be an actual thing that could be there, but what they're doing is they're putting an energetic disguise on it, so we manifest it into something that they want us to manifest. So that's my opinion on Three Eye Atlas. I know there's a lot of people who I'm friends with who think it's a Lyran light ship that's bringing light codes and upgrade. It very well could be. You know what I mean? I'm not hating on anybody who has a different opinion of Three Eye Atlas than I do. Everybody, that's the cool thing about this. I know, Michelle, that's just what some people I know think. And Don, but no, that's my take on it. Anytime the mainstream presents something to us, it must be taken with the utmost discernment. It must be very heavily scrutinized, and it must be taken with a grain of salt, because for all we know, they're trying to get our collective consciousness to manifest some kind of event that puts this whole situation on the timeline. Exactly, Phil. They're already here. And contact's already happening, and contact's happening on a personal level at this point right now. Okay, the ones who are ready and who are willing to have that contact will receive that contact. That I can guarantee you. And I'm even talking from my own experiences. And yes, and that's the thing, Phil. I'm going to say this: the real extraterrestrials have no need to invade. The real extraterrestrials have been here just as long as us, if not longer. The equivalent of the real extraterrestrials trying to invade this planet is the equivalent of a shop owner trying to rob his own store. That's essentially, if the real extraterrestrials were to invade this planet, the ones that have been here probably just as long as us, if not longer, it's the equivalent of a store owner walking into his store and just stealing everything that's in there and walking out. It's the most pointless thing in their eyes. They're like, why would we invade? Why? We live here. Why would we invade this place? So that's just, I'm going to leave it at that. And thanks, Dyanna. I appreciate that. And the second thing I want to talk about, Phil brought up, was what they're doing to the meat. And I brought up Jordan Maxwell. So for those of you who don't know who Jordan Maxwell was, he's no longer with us, unfortunately, but he actually did a lot of research on this very topic. He did a lot of research into the government, the conspiracies, and a lot of things that happened there. And he had confirmation that in our ground meats, there is human meat. Yes, there is actual hardcore confirmation that in a lot of ground meats, there's human meat. So the number one thing I'm going to say, and plus a lot of the food in general is just looking fake. I mean, like I was saying, dude, I've never seen beef be a light pink. I've never seen that. I've never seen pork be almost white. too. So again, guys, yes, there is something, Michelle, that could very well be it too. And also there was a interview that I saw, I forgot which station it was on, but there was apparently a Zionist rabbi who was saying, now this I don't have confirmation for. This is just, as far as I can tell, it's speculation, but kind of makes you wonder what I'm about to say. And I bet it is, Dyanna. I know you guys talk about the bird of beef up there and all the local beef you guys got. So yeah, I bet. How am I supposed to look you in the eye, Michelle? My goodness. And but no, there's definitely something going on with our food, 100%. And that's why, in my opinion, at this point in time, I don't care what Walmart says. They're all like, "Oh, we're taking all of the additives out of the food. It's going to be all natural." Yeah, bullshit. But the biggest thing I will say to everybody here is to not go to your local simulation mart anymore. Your simulation marts being Kroger brand, Safeway, Piggly Wiggly, Winn-Dixie. Yes, Jason, the Walmart shrimp is radioactive, and I just watched this science guy on YouTube try to say that it's okay to eat even though it's radioactive, and I was just sitting there mouth agape, like, dude, did you just try to rationalize eating radioactive shrimp and say it's okay? Yeah. No, not Bill Nye. Michelle is a different guy. I'll throw the link up. But no, yes, I would stay away from simulation marts, guys. I know organic food is tough in some places here in Colorado. Luckily, it's very cheap here. We're talking about a difference in cents as an opposed to a difference in dollars. But the number one thing I highly recommend is you guys start going to the Asian grocery stores. They don't mess around with that stuff. They don't like things in their food like that. So thank you, Michelle. I appreciate that. But they don't like things in our food like that. So I would go to the Asian marts. I would support your local butcher. I would support your local farmers market, your local organic grocer, and I would start growing your own food. And in fact, it's super easy to do. I can give you some instructions if you ever want to learn how to start an indoor garden. You can get non-GMO heirloom seed banks that have over 500 different types of seeds. Growing your own food also too is the best bet. Jason, the taquito seed is very hard to find. Okay. The taquito seed is a rare seed. I myself have had a hard time finding the taquito seed, but it's a very rare heirloom strain, and you gotta really dig deep to find the taquito seed. And but yeah, nonetheless, guys, I'm gonna let y'all go for tonight. This was an interesting little chat at the end. It was very cool. I hope you guys enjoyed the subtle body breakdown. I hope this you have the taquito seeds, Lee. Good. And send them Jason's way. He definitely wants to. But nonetheless, guys, it was cool to sit down with you guys one-on-one again. I honestly miss it. I miss it. I mean, I can just tell in my whole attitude tonight on how much fun I had here. And this is the one thing I'm going to promise you guys. When season 4 drops in January, we're going to have more of these. All right. Tonight just reminded me. Thank you, Don. Tonight just reminded me how much I enjoy just sitting down with you guys myself and teaching and demystifying some of this stuff and showing how easy it is to achieve alignment. It's not complicated. It's not hard. It's not all about the logistics. It's about just understanding the number one thing. Spirit is simple. Anything that's hyper complex is yeah, for sure, Michelle, definitely. Anything that's hyper complex is, well, yes, it's fun to entertain that. Don't get me wrong. Don't let it be the makeup of who you are. Remember, spirit is simple and love is always the answer. Just always remember that. Alrighty, guys. Next week, we are going to have Stone Hobbit. It's going to be a Tuesday show next week because I go on call. And so it will be Tuesday, the 29th, guys. I will make sure I remind everybody as we come up on it, because I know the Tuesday shows throw some of you guys off. But so I'm telling all of you now, next week, it's a Tuesday show. And we will be, I know, Don, boo on call. I absolutely fucking hate it. But this is how I got to adapt for now. I got to do the shows on Tuesday that week. But Stone Hobbit's coming on. She's a fan of the show. I actually really look forward to sitting down with her. She's already living a sustainable life, kind of a little bit of off-grid living. So, I can't wait to pick her brain on that and get to know her a little better too, because she's a fan of the show. She enjoys it here. And I always like to sit and talk with everybody who's in the chat. I will eat some tacos, Michelle. Tacos are my mana. You know this. But yeah, other than that, guys, we will be back Tuesday next week. And I do promise, because I know all of you guys enjoyed yourselves tonight, we will be doing more of these solo shows in season 4. And the one promise I will say is the first entire month of season 4, January, is going to be solo shows. And I have a lot of great stuff we're going to talk about. I have already picked out some topics, so be looking forward to that. But other than that, you know what we say here on BG Cast: stay safe, stay free, have that personal agency and that personal sovereignty. And for the love of God, do not be like Elon Musk and stay away from not only Japanese grok now, but the Japanese sex robots. Humans and robots do not belong together. For the love of God, human on human, all the way, number one. Have a good night, guys. Take care.
Collectively together, you were born to rotate with the crowd. You were born to sync with the sacred spiral. The Hercules stream is proof. The cosmos hummers the divergent. This is urgent. BG-Cast brings us that Hercules energy. It's here to save the day. You won't stay lost in the dark. Here is your shot with BG-Cast beside you. Can we rise alone?